Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can. In the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Welcome to the Fasting Focus Lifestyle Podcast, where each week I will be discussing all things fasting and how it can become the most valuable tool in your personal toolkit so that you can live a long, healthy, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Vicki Sharon, and thank you for joining me. Hello and welcome to the Fasting Focus Lifestyle Podcast. This is Vicki, and this week I'm doing what I'm just going to call a Carline Quickie sort of episode, I guess, if you want to call it that. I'm going to call it that because it works for me. I wanted to just quickly talk about things that I've received in feedback that I think is a good common question that many folks have with starting out. And that's with the relation to eating and your choices with what you're eating and the hormonal relationship. So before I have to depart to get into Carline, as I sit here, rather, in Carline, first off, like I said, when you're starting on your fasting journey, it is most important, above all, to start and be consistent with those low-level efforts first and foremost. Get yourself into a fasting regular habit. And I stress on this because, like I'd mentioned, I didn't focus on changing everything. I focused on what the biggest issue was that was leading to what I was living with being almost 400 pounds. And that was eating all the time. And again, like you've probably seen and heard with fasting, obviously we're restricting that amount of time from all day eating to a controlled time period each day. And with that, you expect to lose weight. Well, as we start off with easy, low-level fasting, and like I've explained before, hopefully you get comfortable with challenging yourself as things progress along and get further into your journey as you start to see progress accumulate with each other, which is awesome. That's what we want. Then the focus starts to become more about the quality of your food and your eating choices, but also while managing any hormonal pangs, any emotional triggers, any seasonal cravings, like this time of year with all these fall indulgent foods that are constantly around us. This time of year especially, no matter where you are in the United States, it's a big thing. Around the world, it might not be so much. But folks in the United States understand the pumpkin fall craze with everything flavored pumpkin, and how a lot of these products we see being sold and marketed to us don't have our overall health and nutrition in mind when they put out these products. Like, for example, I don't buy them, but like the Oreos, we just like to point out crazy shenanigans, pumpkin flavored things while we are in the grocery store. But anyway, tying that back to what I was saying with commonly asked questions. So the food choices, of course, should not be obsessively restricted or drastically changed at the beginning. I would probably say, if I remember correctly, I want to say it was about the 2 to 3 plus or so month range where I started to really pay much more attention to my food choices. And the attention on the food choices was not in an overly obsessive restricted. I had the nerdish excitement and interest in what was the quality of the foods that I was eating, and was this going to be a quality food that would sustain me enough through my next fast the following day. Because if it was something, as you know, as I continued further on, learning the difference between the quality calories, and this is, you know, one of the many reasons why, if you read The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung, he talks about this at length in that book. So definitely, like, side note, recommend check that out. With the conventional counting calories, the emphasis should be less on the number of calories and more on the actual benefit that the food is providing to the body. And especially with fasting, if you've heard me say it before, you know what I'm going to say. The desired and most preferred form of fuel for the body is what? Oh yeah, it's fat, whether it's dietary fat or body fat. The body doesn't care. It's going to consume it equally. And thinking that we have to break with the protein is not true. And honestly, you have a gentler transition from eating your own body fat when you're in a fasted state, because your body is tapping at that fuel that's there, the stored body fat fuel. Your body's like, oh, yep, they've got some in these, you know, storage pouches throughout their body, wherever they are, from your head to toe. Your body knows how to beautifully tap and utilize that. So when you start to wake up your digestive system, you should be using a dietary fat. The choice of dietary fat, that's the beautiful thing with fasting and it not being such a restrictive thing. The choice of dietary fat is up to you. My preferred choice is obviously going to be plant-based, nuts, seeds. A nut butter would be great. Avocado is awesome. Meat and dairy eaters, you can have a good chunk of cheese. You can have a good piece of fatty meat, or like as long as it doesn't have sugar or anything in it, like, I don't know, beef jerky. I'm obviously, that's out of my wheelhouse set here because I don't eat meat, but you get the idea. Anything that has good quality dietary fat is going to be a great choice to wake up the digestive system. And my rule of thumb is generally keep it, that initial serving of dietary fat, palm sized, Vicky. Come on. You want to keep that dietary fat serving to palm sized and truly let your body wake up, digest the food, start getting the process going for waking up your digestive system with that initial little break. About a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, if you can do that. Honestly, my favorite thing is while I get started in cooking dinner, I like having a handful of walnuts or pistachios or cashews, or like a spoonful of crunchy peanut butter, like whatever works best for you. And like I said, just make sure the choice that you've got does not have any additional carbohydrates or sugars in them, because that may, it may not do anything for you in your journey if you're integrating that and maybe has a little bit of sugar in the beginning. That's okay, like in the beginning, but work on ways as you get further and further along, because as you know, the further along you go and the more weight you lose, the harder it is to keep those losses consistent. But as I've said before, the beauty of fasting and this lifestyle is that it is so customizable, so interchangeable, that as things in your life change, as your body continues to shed the weight further and further on, and your body becomes leaner, more adept at using your body fat properly, things are going to change. Your journey is going to change. Your food choices will change. The foods that you enjoy will change. And you're going to be, I hope, my hope for you is that you are just as equally proud of yourself as I was along the process when you are given the option of indulgent, sometimes foods, as I like to call them, but you choose an all-the-time food instead, or maybe like an all-the-time, sometimes hybrid that leans more towards an all-the-times. That's great. Like, for example, cheesy broccoli. If you have a great amount of broccoli, put a little bit of cheese on it. That's a good, like, all-the-time hybrid sort of thing, if you catch my drift. But truly, your food choices in this, I wouldn't say don't matter, but should not be a focus in the beginning. Up until about, like I said, that 2 to 3 month period is when things should start to have a little bit more care and attention to what is going into your body. Because like I said before, and I always believe this, that your body is a multi-million-dollar smart house that you get to live in. And if you want it to last a while, which I hope you do, if you want it to last, you've got to take care of it. You've got to understand, be in tune, have a good relationship and understanding with the way you treat your body, how you think, what you do, how you move it. All this stuff matters. It matters tremendously. And it's just these little things that we can pay attention to in our habits each day. You can do this. As I always say, I believe in you, even if you don't. If you are in need of supportive health coaching, I'm here, I've been there, and I care. I have my calendar open on my website, thefastingfocuslifestyle.com, and I would love to cheer you on your journey because I know you can do it. You can do this. Thanks, guys. Bye. The Fasting Focus Lifestyle Podcast. Copyright 2022. The information given within this podcast is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your doctor before starting any weight loss method. Thank you.
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can. In the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.